Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around Deck Specs. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars playing cards from Theory11. Before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And ring the bell.
So this deck is actually the second iteration in Theory11's Star Wars playing card series. The first series were a red and a blue variation. This second limited run print was actually a white and a black version. The print run was unspecified and it was printed by USPCC on their premium crushed stock. Sales for $9.95 at theory11.com. So as you can see here, there's both the white and the black versions. Both pucks are relatively similar to the red and the blue ones in the first printing. There's little variations between the dark side versus the light side ones, such as the quote there, as well as the front piece on the dark side tuck, I believe, like window outside of the Death Star or something like that. And then you see the Death Star on the back there. Then you'll notice there's also a little TIE fighter on the front of the box for the dark side, where I believe on the front of the light side box it's maybe like an X-wing. So the cards themselves, other than the back color being a gray, are exactly the same as the red and the blue first variations and the white light side deck as well. Handles beautifully, as you'd expect from USPCC crushed stock there. Then you have some fun little, Ace of Spades here and the kind of dual colored pips, which I think actually really work well with the deck.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah. Um, Darth Vader there on the King of Spades. Then you get into these red and black pips on the diamonds and the hearts there. And I guess there's kind of a bit of a vibe between the spades and clubs versus the diamonds and hearts, where you have that dark side versus light side on the actual court cards for each as well. And I think, one of the interesting things about it, like I said, all the artwork for this is the same as the first print between the red and the blue version. So there's not much of a difference there. But the tucks themselves is really where the tuck in the back color is really where the difference comes into play.
Yeah. I really like these two tucks better than the red and the blue.
I think so as well. I understand why they went with the red and the blue with the color of like lightsabers and everything, but I think the white and the black just do so much more justice to the design itself.
Yeah.
And then you can see here, there's slight, like I said, there's slight variations between the wording and the pictures on the tucks themselves, but for the most part, they're similarly styled. So at a quick glance, you may not be able to tell the difference other than the colors there, but they are in fact different in slight ways. Then we'll run through the cards here again. The back design is slightly different. So, or the back design is different color, as you can see there. It's white versus the black, and it's the back design from the white tuck versus the back design from the black tuck. But that being said, all of the cards themselves within the deck are exactly the same. So there's no
Right.
variation on the card face.
Yeah.
And I
But the back design on both of these are super similar, right? Just like tiny little differences.
So really, it's basically the same difference you see on the tuck there. So in this case, the back design has R2-D2 and a window. On the other one, it's the Death Star and a window. So very much the
Gotcha.
same, but like slight variation there. I think the one area that most people will agree with on this, actually, there's two areas that I'd say ultimately these decks missed the mark. I think that is in the fact that there's no foil used throughout the entire deck when you have lightsabers, which would have benefited majorly from foil on them.
Right.
Um,
Well,
and with that in mind, the designer himself actually designed these decks with foil in mind. So it goes against what he originally planned as the idea of how it would be presented. So the lack of foil actually wasn't intended on his side, on the
right.
designer side, but on Theory11 side, that was a decision they had made. The second thing I think they missed the mark on in this is with having a light side versus a dark side deck. They really could have made all of the courts of the light side deck light side characters and all of this,
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know why they did that where it's the exact same cards in both tucks. Like they could have really switched it up a little bit, but I think, all in all, the artwork is in line with what you expect from Theory11. They really do create beautiful tuck boxes. They create very nice, very usable, reasonably priced cards. But yeah, I think this still just slightly misses the mark for the Star Wars decks.
Yeah. I think the only thing I can think of that maybe, kind of limited them was maybe they were on a time crunch. They wanted to get it out in a certain time, so they kind of just settled for, the amount of court cards that they had rather than, trying to create that many more.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of,
Well, I do know there was a time crunch on the original printing for the blue and the red, but for these ones, I feel
Right.
like they probably had a little more leg room there. They probably just didn't want to have to redesign cards at that point, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
Possible.
yeah, I mean, it's a good looking deck. If you're into Star Wars at 9.95, it's an absolute steal. It's worth grabbing, and it handles great. It's crush stock, so not a bad deal altogether. But I think from the artwork point of view, if you're coming into it as a diehard Star Wars fan and expecting a lot, definitely moderate. Manage that expectation going into it. So well, thanks everyone for checking out this episode of Deckin Around Deck Specs. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We drop these every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Oh.